Welcome, everybody, to the War and Peace Baseball Podcast. I'm here today with Ray Estrada and Alex Rudy. I'm Alex Uwe. How are you guys feeling today?
Feeling good.
I mean, it is
outstanding.
It is a very, momentous holiday after all. It is the birthday of the one and only Mike Trout. How did you guys celebrate Mike Trout's birthday?
I went to the gym, like I do every other day. So,
I bought clothes.
Wow, at least you did something somewhat special, Rudy.
I celebrated his birthday by celebrating me as Mike Trout, which is all his children.
We are all his children. We are all born in his image.
We are all followers of the Trout God.
Yeah, I ate an entire smoked trout to celebrate the occasion. It was. I
feel like that's blasphemy.
I only threw up for like a couple hours after, but I'm better now, and completely lying, by the way. But it is the time of year to talk about Mike Trout. He's actually doing relevant things. He just reached the 1,000 hit milestone. Congratulations to him. And he's still Mike Trouting it up. He also hit a home run for his 1,001st hit. So he is, he didn't land on that milestone for very long. So Rudy, what do you got for us on Mike Trout's WAR and what he's able to do this season despite the injury?
One, I just want to make this clear. Mike Trout is good. Mike Trout is very good.
Mike Trout is good.
One even might say that Mike Trout is extremely good, but that might be a little too much. So I'll try not to exaggerate too much. But I think this sums up his season and his ability more than anything. How long did he miss? Like, how many games do you guys know off the top of your head? Like,
not 45, off the top of my head.
About, give or take? He missed about, 45, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's on pace to play 116 games, so give or take, assuming, he wasn't going to play the whole season. He missed about 50 games. And he's still on pace to have the same 11.4 season that he was pre-injury. 11.4 is, historically incredible.
Well, not for him. That's just an annual thing for him.
It's still more WAR than he would have gotten in his 2014 MVP season. It is about as good as you can do. It's Bonds level, essentially. I would say Bonds is really the only player who consistently was able to beat that at his prime. Mike Trout is by far the most underrated athlete in professional sports because there's no other sport with a player this dominant and this historic and this momentous and who's so good that you just have to watch the game just to see him play, if nothing else. And yet I really still believe that it seems like to me that no one who isn't just a big baseball fan already cares. I think it's really sad because people are missing out on a period in sports which is historic and a gift for every true sports fan to see because there will never be another Mike Trout.
Yeah, I mean...
This is prime Mickey Mantle if he played with modern medicine, modern training, and no injury destroying his knee on the grate. And if you can't appreciate that, then you're not a true sports fan and I don't want you.
Wow. Calling him out. So,
and I fucking hate the Angels, so.
Wow, those are...
It really means something.
Very harsh yet kind words. I think it's so rare to see a player not only this dominant, but also who, realistically doesn't have a clear path to even seeing a World Series anytime in the near future. So, I mean, just who are some other historically amazing athletes that just haven't had a chance to reach, that championship tier, mostly because of their team? And I mean, baseball is...
I don't think there's ever been an athlete in any sport that was this good for this long that still didn't come close to contending at any point yet in their prime. Baseball is probably the least individual team sport there is, where a player this good can have so little overall team impact. You can make the case like in football, an individual player may contribute less, but Mike Trout is essentially equivalent to a top quarterback, and maybe like
Maybe even less, because he can't even control as much of the game as a quarterback.
Probably less, probably a lot less. So, but I'm saying like the equivalent. I'm saying like Mike Trout is like on pace to be like that, like a Tom Brady-esque player, not like what my point was in that convoluted metaphor was that like you can have the best kicker ever, but like that only contributes so much to the game. Like Mike Trout is not comparable to that. Like he's comparable to the most valuable player on the football field for your team. And maybe like Dan Marino, he never won a Super Bowl. There are some very good players that never won a championship, but I really can't think of anyone who hasn't even come close, who was arguably the best player of all time in their sport. And I know Trout, it's really early to make those claims, but he is, I think it is time to accept on that pace. And the last thing I want to say before I'll give you finally some time to speak, Ray, is that I think it says it all that he still will probably win the MVP, even though he missed over a month, and Jose Altuve is having an unbelievably great season on by far the best team in AL, and I still think Trout deserves MVP.
Well, top two finish. Even
that is absurd.
Yeah, I mean Altuve's obviously been, doing what he's doing. He's hitting over 360 still, and putting up fantastic numbers. And there's 2 months left in the season to go, so we'll see where everything lands and how everything plays out. But if Trout's healthy, he's gonna find himself in a top 2 spot there for sure. I can see that happening. So yeah. So I mean, enough said about him for now. I mean, I'm sure we'll find more reasons to talk about him. We always do. But Bryce Harper is often considered his National League counterpart in the other face of baseball, so to speak. And he just turned 24 years and 295 days old. He is not 26 years old, but he did hit his 150th home run. He hit it the same exact day, age-wise, as Trout did. Trout also hit his 150th home run on, when he was 24 years and 295 days old. And if that's not, an obvious omen right there, then I don't know what is. But Harper is, if one thing to take away from this is still, over a year younger than Mike Trout. So it's really hard to tell career paths at this point. But what are your thoughts, Ray, on Bryce Harper and what he's going to be able to do through, what is going to be the prime of his career compared to Trout? Are these guys really going to be neck and neck as the best players of, arguably all time, and especially of this generation?
I think they can be when they're on. The thing about Bryce Harper is that he is very inconsistent at times, and I think that's what makes Mike Trout so great is his consistency. You mentioned 11.4 WAR pace before he hurt his thumb. When he comes back from a thumb injury, thumb surgery, 11.4 WAR pace. That's incredible, consistently great numbers. Bryce Harper, he had an incredible 2015 MVP year, and we thought, okay, Bryce Harper is going to take off now. And he struggled last year. And so that's the only thing that would separate Trout and Harper is their consistency. I think Harper has all the talent that Trout does. But the thing is that Harper, maybe he's a little more of an emotional player. I'm not faulting emotions anyway, but I mean he has more ups and downs more so than Trout. Trout is just so even keeled, way more consistent talent wise. I think that's the difference between them.
To me, I'd say it's like Messi and Ronaldo. Honestly, is I think just such an easy comparison to make. And even though Ronaldo is older than Messi and Trout's older than Harper, I would say that Trout is 100% the Messi of baseball and Harper the Ronaldo. Team success, it supports that. Stylistically, personality-wise, there's no doubt that I think Harper is in theory, just in a pure vacuum, the more electrifying and exciting player. And you guys are probably thinking, well, no, Trout's, but actually is. But I would say to a baseball fan, yes. But just in general, if you ask someone who knew nothing about them, the more entertaining guy is going to appear to be Harper. And I think in 10 years, these guys' careers are going to be a lot closer than they are now. But right now, just Trout seems like on another level. And I think all those reasons Ray just said are perfectly good explanations for why Harper hasn't quite somehow lived up to his enormous expectations that he was been thrust upon since he was 16 years old and playing junior college. But I still think that he has plenty of room to grow, and I see him truly shining when he becomes a New York Yankee finally and leads us back to glory.
So, that with that point,
just like Ronaldo.
Oh no, you cut out just for the punchline of that one. I'm sorry about that. I'm sure it was fantastic. Well, I was also going to add, no matter where Bryce Harper ends up, he is probably going to be in a much better position to win a couple rings, even to be a consistent playoff presence year in, year out. And say what you will about the Nationals choking in the playoffs so far, and in his time there, that is a really, really good established team, and there's no denying that Bryce Harper is going to be either at the center of a big Nationals run going forward, or if he switches teams, he's gonna elevate that team immediately to a place that's going to contend regularly. I can't imagine a situation where Harper goes to a team like the Angels where he's the only star. So I think 10 years down the line, we can see how their highlight reels play out, how all their stats line up. That's a conversation for 10 years from now. Are you guys still with me, by the way? I have a feeling you're not.
I am still with you.
You are still with me.
I am still with you as well.
Awesome.
Yes.
I was not sure what happened because
I did cut out at one point.
You did. All right. I was nervous. I was scared I lost you guys. I don't want that to happen. Well, I think we're all good there. Let's keep talking about really good teams and really good baseball players, shall we? Let's talk about the Dodgers, and we can't not talk about the Dodgers and what they've done. In the last 50 games, they have had the best 50-game stretch since the 1912 Giants. Yeah, that's a crazy amount of time between then. They went 43-7 in that span. They did one game better than the 2014 Dodgers did, and that seemed
2013 Dodgers.
2013. All right.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. It's the past anyway. But the Dodgers now are gonna go down as one of those all-time great teams, regardless of how their playoff prospects pan out. And I think it's interesting because everybody seems to accept that they look like they're about to blow the all-time wins record out of the water. They're for sure gonna win more than 100 games and yada yada yada. I think this is a case of being overhyped. The Dodgers look like they're gonna win the division, no doubt, but I think people going and saying, "Oh, this is the best team of all time," are just a little bit enamored with this crazy 50-game stretch that they've been on, which is by no means a small sample. But Ray, what do you think of me challenging that idea that the Dodgers this year are, arguably one of the best Dodger teams or even baseball teams to ever step foot on a field?
I would say that it's definitely a minority of people who are saying he's one of the greatest teams ever. Because even at the 111 game mark, I think that we're.
Oh no! Everybody's cutting out in front of my face. This is not
one
good. You cut out for a while. Do you want to backtrack just a couple sentences there?
Yeah, where did I cut out at?
You were just starting basically.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a minority of people who are saying that they're the greatest team ever in terms, because I saw a thing today. Dodgers are at 79 wins through 111 games, and the Mariners, I believe, of 01 had 80, and the Yankees of 82 had of 98 had 82 wins. So I mean, they're not quite at that pace even, but I mean, it certainly looks like one of the best Dodger teams of certainly recent memory. Even that 2013 club, that stretch was part of an incredible comeback in the division. I believe they were down somewhere near 10 games to Arizona, and they came back and won the division by like 13 games. So, but yeah, I'm not the guy saying that they're one of the greatest teams of all time. I think there's a really good team that's the best team in the majors this year. That's what I got to say.
One thing I think is fascinating is that everyone was talking about how historically good the Cubs were last year, and like obviously they won the World Series, but this year they're nowhere near that caliber of a team with essentially the same roster. Certainly one that is not significantly worse on paper in any way. So I think one thing to keep in mind is that if this Dodger team doesn't win the World Series and has a disappointing year next year, that's a lot of if.
Yeah, and if they really are on the Cubs track, so to speak, which is obviously not what anybody wants considering how the Cubs have done this year, but I do see the comparisons and all of that, so I am convinced that everybody thinks, oh, the Dodgers are in great shape. Look at their rotation, look at their young players, look at their farm system. Everything's in good shape right now. I feel like it could be a case where things turn over not the best way. Yu Darvish is not a long-term plan there, so to speak, and some of their pitchers getting older. Kershaw is going to be good, hopefully for a long time, but the rest of their staff could unravel quite quickly, kind of like the Cubs rotation did this year, and there's a chance that all these Dodgers players are just playing way over their heads right now, and the momentum is just insane, and they're just rolling over everybody. But that might not even be the true talent of this team. I mean, is Chris Taylor really going to be a perennial All-Star caliber player? Who can say for sure? Is Yasiel Puig actually this good? I mean, there's so many question marks that people kind of choose to ignore. People just kind of want to say, oh, this team's great. They don't have any holes, really, and they look like they're ready to go for the playoffs. Bring it on. I think it's important to kind of dissect the problems with the team, no matter how good they are. So do you guys have anything more to add on that?
I mean, what I'll say to that is, and I mean, I agree that I think Chris Taylor's kind of playing a little over his potential, but maybe his swing
just
overhaul
a little bit.
is standard. Maybe swing overhaul as done him this good, but I think with the Dodgers and the comparison to the Cubs is not. I think it's a fair comparison to think about it, but the thing is that the Dodgers didn't trade away top prospects to get get guys. They traded Willie Calhoun, who didn't have a clear path to the majors.
And they traded Jose De Leon too. That's two top prospects. Just because those guys necessarily weren't going to play for the Dodgers, in theory, doesn't mean they weren't top prospects.
No, I know, but
the Cubs guys were blocked too.
But I mean, the thing about the rotation is that the Cubs had John Lester. John Lester was that kind of like steady guy that you would think, but then Kyle Hendricks kind of came out of nowhere. Jake Arrieta came out of nowhere. They both regressed. Kyle Hendricks been hurt. Jake Arrieta's still a quality pitcher.
Came out of nowhere.
Alex Wood came out of nowhere.
I agree, but like Kershaw's gonna be that mainstay.
Rich Hill kind of looks John Lackey-ish to me. Just they're so old. You're wondering how many pitches they even have left in the tank. And for some reason, they've gotten better as they approach 40 years old, which is unheard of, really. So I don't understand how it works, but I'm drawing a lot of direct comparisons here.
I
now
just
that
have
think
one
about
question.
it more carefully.
Just one question.
Yeah.
Where is Scott Kazmir, and do we know for sure he's still alive?
Ooh, I know this one.
No.
I actually I did a little bit of research on young Scott Kazmir. Well, actually, he's 33 years old, so he's not ancient.
That's so much younger than I ever would have thought. He is 30. Honestly.
He's the same age as Max Scherzer, Zach Greinke, John Lester, like pitchers that are going to be pitching in the playoffs, leading their teams. So Scott Kazmir, come on, man. I mean, you're not totally done. Your arm must be totally cashed right now, and you have nowhere to pitch on the Dodgers. He is currently going to see a body mechanics specialist. He's not with the team right now, even. He did have a couple rehab starts in the Dodgers, minor league teams. It got shelled in three starts in a row last month, and now is getting this special kind of rehabilitation done. So I feel like that's the Dodgers' way of saying, yeah, we're gonna just bite the bullet on this one, and good luck to you. We'll send you your $16 million check for this year and next year, and if you feel like coming back, and if for some reason you start throwing 93, 94 miles an hour again, then great, we'll have you back, and if not, then oh well. So that is what's up with Scott Kazmir. So for all of you wondering, we could have done an entire "Where Are They Now" segment, even though he's still technically a major league pitcher. So yeah, any more Scott Kazmir related questions or Dodgers related questions? Nope. He's not. He's really not that interesting. I hyped him up way too much there. Yeah. So
Dodgers... I will say this though. Okay, one last thing, and then we can finally move on.
Okay.
The Dodgers, I think, have a decent amount of money that's going to be slowly coming off the books with Egon, Ethier, Crawford. That should be done, I think, in the next couple of years. So unlike the Cubs, who are now kind of just tied to their money and don't have that much upward spending. The Dodgers do yet, even though they have a currently huge payroll, they'll have contracts coming off that they can replace to give them reinforcement, which I think does differentiate them slightly from the Cubs.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, both these teams have way too much money anyway. So yeah, I have a question for you. Was Yonder Alonso one point on the Dodgers?
No.
He was on the Padres. I forget if Alonso was never traded, because I know those two teams had traded some pieces back and forth around that time. But yeah, so Alonso came from the Padres to the A's, right? And then now he is making his way over to the Mariners. And this is just a weird trade. Billy Beane traded him away for less than a nothing prospect, essentially. I mean, you could argue that he should have just taken the player to be named later that everybody loves so much, but they traded Yonder Alonso and got Boog Powell back in return. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there in Oakland, but Yonder Alonso is relevant to the Mariners, who are still kind of floating around 500, and talk about guys who really have had hype fade in a heartbeat. Yonder Alonso was talk of the town only a couple months ago, and now not so much. Do you even think he sees everyday playing time in Seattle? Rudy, why don't you give your take on Alonso's move here?
Oh, I hate that guy. I'm not a good person to ask. I'm very biased.
Well, let's hear it. Let's hear the bias.
Not to last. I'm going to be honest, who starts for first base before him for the Mariners? I honestly have no idea. I really
Danny
don't
Valencia, maybe?
Oh, I thought he played.
I believe that is the answer. Danny Valencia plays all over, so... Danny
Valencia might even platoon, I don't know, with Alonso.
I mean, who plays third then when Valencia...
Kyle
Seager.
Oh, obviously. Okay, that was a dumb question. I mean, he won't even play that much then, because Danny Valencia, while not... unbelievable, is still having is probably having honestly around the same level of year in terms of overall offense production, because his average is way higher, or it's probably close. So I'm sure it's going to be a split platoon. I mean, I don't think any of us have done research which one hits lefties or righties better, but I would assume that's logic into it. And I think, the Mariners got him for nothing. He's going to be a free agent after the year, so it's a nice deal for them, but there's almost no chance I think they're going to make the playoffs, considering they didn't improve their rotation past trading back for Erasmo Ramirez, and their rotation past Paxton is so disgustingly awful. It's an embarrassment to teams trying to make the playoffs. I feel so bad for Mariners fans. I'm so sorry. If any of them are listening to this podcast, you don't deserve this.
Wow. Really not holding
with Robinson Cano, Kyle Seager, and Nelson Cruz all being productive year after year, and James Paxton should not be this bad every fucking year. It's pretty ridiculous.
Well, yeah. I mean, you get what you get as a Mariners fan. I mean, there's plenty of fun stuff going on there. They still got plenty of star players there, but the lack of postseason appearances really must be something. So yeah, Yonder Alonso is not having a good time the last couple months. His average is down to 266 on the season. He's only had 22 home runs, and I think he was at like 20 or 21 before the All-Star break even. Yeah, his OPS still up at around 896. I don't think Yonder Alonso is completely lost. I mean, if you were to ask me if Yonder Alonso is a definitively better player than he was last season, I would absolutely tell you you'd be right, because he definitely has made strides in, just his plate approach.
He was horrible before this season. It's like saying nothing.
Well, I mean, it says he's a productive major league player at this point. He's got, like 50 walks to 88 strikeouts, I think, which isn't, atrocious. He's not getting overpowered anymore. His launch angle is still definitively better than it was, in his past years. So he's definitely made that same, change. I think he's gonna go through stretches like this, just the nature of his game, where he'll be pretty stagnant, and I think he will go on some runs here and there where he definitely hits some balls out of the park and he raises some eyebrows again. I don't think that's the end of Yonder Alonso. It's just the beginning of the season. So, yeah. Anything else on the Mariners or Alonso before we move on here? All right, I'm gonna take that silence as a resounding no. So we are going to keep it in the AL West and talk a little speculation, about a little gossip here. You guys like gossip?
I love gossip
so much.
Oh my God! OMG, I love gossip. Justin Verlander is so cute. No, he is in trade talks right now. After he cleared waivers, and the Tigers and Astros are working on something. Possibly something might be cooking. So, what is it going to take for the Astros to decide to get a deal done in the first place? What are the Tigers going to have to do to unload Verlander if they decide to do so? Ray, I'll throw this one over to you first, I guess.
Yeah, I think the Tigers are going to have to pay a lot of Verlander salary to have the Astros take him, because I think when you realistically look at it, the only two teams who would take on most, I don't think any team would take all of the salary, but would take most of his salary would be the Dodgers or the Yankees, and they don't need him. The Astros, I think do need him. They did bolster their rotation. Their rotation is the most question mark filled one, I think, of all the contenders.
Of all the super teams, not just
contenders. Yeah. I mean, World Series contenders, in my opinion. So because you look at Keuchel, who, I mean, he's been good this year, but he's just coming off the DL. Who knows if his injury becomes a recurring one? McCullers is on the DL. McHugh doesn't. I don't think McHugh really scares anybody. And then Fires and Morton are two huge question marks. And Liriano.
How do you forget Brad Peacock?
Brad Peacock. Great. Yeah, well, I mean,
they've unleashed the cock.
That, but Verlander would help the Astros the most. But I don't know if the Astros necessarily have, or I don't know if they necessarily want to give up what they would possibly need to give up for the Tigers to give them Verlander. That's the only thing.
I think they have to be, everybody, the Tigers right now have to be pleased with what Verlander's done in the last month or so anyway. In his last 5 or 6 starts, he's been much more like his old self. Still an ERA in the 3s, hasn't been racking up wins considering the team he's playing for. But, he's actually not, still more walks than you would like, but he's striking out plenty of batters. He's back to, striking out about a batter per inning. He's been really just looking good from an eyeball test too. Just the stuff looked really good. He's been throwing it in the upper 90s, which is something we haven't seen necessarily. I don't think there's too much concern about the arm giving out for the rest of the season. I think now, oddly enough, the concern comes with the command and the control from Verlander. Something I never thought I'd be saying. This is one of the best pitchers when he was in his prime. I think everybody thought that the problems would come from his arm just giving out, but I think it's just he's just gone a little wild. So I don't even know. I think we've talked about this before, and with where in the Astros rotation would he even slot in there? The Astros have some pretty good names ahead. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna go ahead and say that Verlander will definitely have a spot in any rotation he pitches in. Will definitely be an upgrade for any team he goes to. But at what price? That's the tricky part. The Astros have to give up any, top tier prospects. I don't think that's going to be in the cards. So I think this is a whole lot of nothing, but it sure is fun to talk about. And if it is something, I do like the Astros better for it. I think there will be a better team, no doubt about it. I think the only real scenario where they make a hasty decision to get Verlander would be if Lance McCullers runs into some more trouble with his arm. I think they placed him on the DL kind of as a precautionary thing. His arm, wasn't doing so well. They don't really need him at the moment. But if, when they do start trying to bring him back, if there's any recurring problems, then who knows? Anything could happen there. Do you see any other potential spots for Verlander even to be on the move to? That'd be something interesting.
Maybe the Red Sox.
Yeah,
I
can see that too.
Nothing fearsome. Especially if Price is still going to be a baby and get hurt constantly. After Sale, no one really strikes fear.
I like Drew Pomeranz still. He's fine, definitely not a scary man.
At the very least,
have you seen his face? He's not a scary man.
At the very least, though, even if you do count him, you still need a third guy in that playoffs. Yeah. And Porcello is once again proving that the fact that anyone took him seriously as a Cy Young candidate means they should be stripped of their credentials as a baseball reporter immediately. And, Eduardo Rodriguez is fine, but nothing special. I don't even know who the fifth starter is. Is it Stephen Wright?
No. Stephen Wright's out for the season.
Who's the other guy?
I was also just going to say that Drew Pomeranz is unsettling at best. He's definitely not
so scary. I could see them making a move.
They could. I think they're. Let me look up their fifth starter here.
What was that headline? Wasn't a headline around after the deadline? Didn't the owner of the Red Sox tell Dombrowski not to trade top prospects? Or am I remembering that wrong?
Times are changing. So, if you need a starter, you gotta get something done. So, there are cheaper options out there too, especially on the waiver wire, I imagine. So, it's not necessarily, Red Sox need to do something or they're gonna bust. But yeah, another starter in there would be nice. I don't know if they will, spend what it takes to get Verlander. So that is another team though that looks like they're in the running. Yeah. So I think that's quite enough about Verlander, and if anything happens, we will of course talk more about it. But in the meantime, we'll move right along here. I'm just gonna bring up something that I find extremely bizarre. So Joey Gallo, everybody loves him. He's homered in 5 of his last 6 games, I think now, and none of them are cheapies. That is not his thing. So Joey Gallo, super supreme monster donger hitter. He is on pace for a 40+ home run season. Okay, that's not really news, but he's on pace for a 40+ homer season with less than 100 hits, which I can't imagine that's ever been done before. I've not actually looked. I don't even know how I'd go about doing that, looking for players with more than 40 homers and less than 100 hits. But man, that is quite a pace, Mr. Gallo. Talk about your 3 true outcomes. What do you guys think about Joey Gallo's prospects as a major league player putting up these strange numbers?
I think his prospects are very plentiful. He's a more than adequate third baseman. He's nothing special, but he does his job. And I think, on paper, at first glance, those numbers seem very unsightly, but the value is still there. It's just unorthodox. And while I'm not personally a fan of that style of play, I don't think that means he's necessarily in a unplayable guy. I think he's still on pace to have be above replacement player, and I think he would be a lot better player if he had at least somewhat of a slightly more balanced approach and not so ridiculously over the top.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody's ever told him that they still count even if they don't go 480 feet.
Right,
So,
but that doesn't mean he's hopeless at all, or by any means. He's still a more than playable guy, but I think it's pretty fascinating that the Rangers just have gone all in on this style because he's still only 23 years old, almost 24. He has plenty of time to improve. But I mean, I was looking at on Fangraphs, they have him still as 2.4 WAR so far this year. That's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's totally adequate.
It's a pretty average major league player. So his OPS is 865, which, you know, if you looked at a normal player and you say, oh, that's a really good player right there. But when you also consider that, you know, more than 40% of the time the ball is, you know, not even touching the bat, that's something else.
Also, Adam Dunn 1 year did do what you just said had never been done before.
I thought
he had 40 home runs.
No, I thought I read that
2008.
Really? I thought I read that the closest he came was hitting
that's runs.
40
You're
plus.
reading runs.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I thought I read that the closest.
I made that mistake too. I made that mistake too.
Adam Dunn had 110 hits. That was
So
the closest
true.
he came in a 40 plus home run season.
You're right.
Yeah.
Fact checking on
Damn
the
it.
spot.
That was gonna be my talking point.
What?
Adam
Dunn. Why?
Yeah.
Why is Adam Dunn making headlines on our podcast now? It's a strange.
Because you
time
mentioned Joey Gallo's home run to hit total, and the only person I can think who, like Joey Gallo, like fits the mold of is Adam Dunn.
What about old Mark Reynolds? Is he not getting any love? All right. Well, he's still playing.
I don't know if he
he's
had
actually
enough. Like,
hitting well now. So, yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if he had enough. Like 40. How many times did he hit 40 home runs? That's my question.
Mark Reynolds, I don't know. Maybe once. That's a good point.
I think once.
You guys want to hear what Joey Gallo's average height on balls in play is that StatCast has for him on the season? If you were to guess.
Sure.
The Major League average is 39 feet for average height.
150.
No. Not quite.
60.
No, it's between there. It's at a cool 72.8 average height, which is, you know, significantly
That's
higher
high.
than the major league average. So he is hitting a lot of balls in the air. To say the
And
least,
just
I don't
answer-
think that's exactly breaking news that he hits balls in the air. So.
Yeah. Just to answer the Mark Reynolds question. He only had 140 home run season in 2009, and he collected 150 hits.
Wow, good for him. He's still playing right now. He's hitting.
He did have a 32 home run season the next season with 99, but that's
that's still a pretty good one. A guy with 30 homers and less than 100 hits. I'm sure it's happened more, but still a good one. Mark Reynolds.
like barely qualifies as that.
Yeah, barely. All right, so I think that's most of this. That's pretty much everything I've got in terms of stories for us. Let's go ahead and settle it down. Let's get our game on, and we'll settle into a stat game. I think you're gonna take it away on this one, right, Ray?
Yeah, so I got stacking this week, and I just kind of came up with this way of deciding who goes first because I know that's probably the biggest issue with stat game at this point.
It's a different game in and of itself.
Yeah. I would say just like I'll say the thing and then your name is your buzzer. So whoever does that will get first guess.
But we have the same name.
Use a name that we refer you
no,
to.
I'm joking.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Your name is your buzzer. That way there's no like argument.
So
on
I
who
say
goes.
like Rudy.
So I say the question and then so like if I hear Rudy first and I go, okay, Rudy, you get it. You go.
So I have to say my name and then say my answer.
Yeah, and it's whoever's name I hear first.
It should be by volume. Whoever yells their answer the loudest gets.
Then
Dang it.
they don't need medical attention for my ears.
It was
that's
worth
the
a
case.
shot.
Work hard, play hard.
All right,
What?
we all get how this is gonna go down, right?
No, but I'm willing to try it.
Hooray!
Just say your name as fast as you can after I read the category.
I'm
Okay.
just gonna raise my hand.
Okay.
I'm gonna raise both hands.
Crap.
All right. So, the first category for stat game, this is individual hitters, the highest percentage of knuckleballs faced.
Curious.
Alex.
Alex.
Okay, Rudy.
Dang it. I was too slow.
Ojubel Herrera.
Wow, that pronunciation.
Ojubel Herrera. Surprisingly, not on the list.
Oh my gosh.
All right, I'm
I get-
gonna go ahead and guess the Zim Zam Flim Flam, Ryan Zimmerman.
Number 3. So,
Aha!
Louis,
Nice.
you win.
Yeah.
The top 2 are also Nationals, Rendon and Harper, followed by Asdrubal Cabrera and Michael Conforto of the Mets. The Phillies on the list were Tommy Joseph at 12, Cesar Hernandez at 14, Michael Franco at 16.
How do these guys fare against knuckleballs, though? They face...
That stat is not immediately available on this page.
That is not important. Move on.
Okay, so next category. This one, no, we talked about this beforehand, but it's just kind of like who's the best guys against sliders. It's pitch value added. It's pitch value against slider. It's WSL, and when I scroll over it, Fangraphs doesn't give me any information on it. But
Dang it, Fangraphs.
that's your category.
Rudy.
Rudy.
Joey Votto.
Interesting guess.
25th.
That's
It's
a lot
4.6 rating.
That's a lot of pressure on me. I'm gonna say... Oh, sorry, Alex.
You don't have to say. He's already guessed. Just go.
I like it, though. I'm gonna guess Buster Posey.
Number 2
Oh my god.
with a 10
Brutal.
rating. Edwin Encarnacion was number 1.
Really?
That is shocking.
A 10.8 rating. Now, for perspective, you're thinking he's not hitting that well. He has a negative 1.1 fastball rating,
Jesus.
where the
That's brutal
leader
for a
is
power
Paul
hitter.
Goldschmidt at 32. So that's
Wow.
So
Man,
So-
that's interesting. I
Yeah.
don't normally think about this stuff. The reason I went with Posey is because I know he's a guy that sees the ball deep and sprays it to the opposite field a lot. Doesn't hit for... He's not looking to jump on fastballs quite as much, so I figured he's good at sitting on those sliders.
yeah. So rounding out top 5, Conforto at 3, Altuve at 4, and Didi Gregorius at 5.
Jose Altuve is probably a good answer for any hitting stats in the future as well.
He has a negative 3.2 rating against cutters, apparently. So there's that. But
Stop throwing him cutters then. Or start
Yeah.
throwing him cutters then, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want him to hit, so...
I feel more comfortable now if like Kenley Jansen is facing him in the World Series. He doesn't hit cutters well.
Altuve's too clutch for it, though. He's going to find a way to balance that out.
Okay, so let's move on to some simpler stats, and we'll focus on the bottom tier of these stats. So, least amount of walks for qualified hitters.
Alex.
Yes, Rudy. No, I'm just kidding. Ooey,
Damn it! I knew it would happen. I'm going to guess Salvador Perez.
He's 7th with 14 walks.
Oh god.
I know he's not a big walker. He's also injured right now. That's something you never see. Music to my ears.
Was that Krusty Krab training video? Do you want a Krabby Patty? Yes.
Sure.
Is that for here to go?
D. Gordon.
He is not better than Salvador Perez. I know that for sure. He has 18.
Oh.
He has 20. He has 20 walks on the
That's
year.
not bad.
The top answer was another Royal, Alcides Escobar, who only has 9 walks.
Isn't 9 his batting average, or is on base plus slugging? It's just 9.
9,000.
No, just 9.
It's 225 is batting average, but
Jesus.
yeah. Jose Peraza of the Reds, a second. Tim Anderson, Yulieski Gurriel only has 11 walks, and Eduardo Nunez
Nunez. That's one I didn't expect to see.
He only has 13 walks on the season.
Interesting.
And only 34 strikeouts for Eduardo Nunez on the year.
Well, I basically won, but we'll do these last two just for the fun of it.
Yeah. Okay. So another simple one. The least. So this is starting pitchers. The least wins in the American League. This is qualified starting pitchers. Least wins in the American League.
For qualified starters.
Qualified
Rudy.
starters. Go ahead, Rudy.
Matt Moore.
That's not an American League.
Wrong
pitcher.
league.
What are you doing?
Wait, that's the American League.
He's on the.
He's in the Giants, man.
What?
I
didn't even see that.
He does lead the majors.
I lost
in least
anyway.
amount of wins.
I'm just gonna go with Matt Moore anyway.
Really?
Really?
I'll give you another guess.
I'm gonna go with.
Uwe, you go before his next guess though.
I'm gonna go with Big Game James Shields.
Big Game James Shields.
Has
he's
he
not
won?
that.
He's won
No,
games.
I do not believe he is qualified. He is not on this list.
That's not fair. I didn't know.
Go ahead, Rudy.
He doesn't win anything.
You can redeem yourself. Qualified starting pitchers in the American League.
Clayton Kershaw.
This is tough. Let's see.
Mine's a little bit chewy.
Your what's a little bit chewy?
You said it's tough. I think I find it chewy.
Can I use a phone a friend?
This is some classic stat game right here. I missed this. Just sitting around and pondering to ourselves quietly while
I kind of gave up. I'm not gonna lie. Is that professional? No, but is it honest? I like to think yes.
I call myself an honest man.
Let's go with Jarrell Cotton.
Oh, Jarrell. Is he even qualified?
Not here.
Or Kendall Graveman.
Is Kendall Graveman qualified?
He's 2 and 3, so I don't.
Not here.
Are any of these people qualified? Yeah, I'm trying to dig deep to find the bottom.
Wait, have we named anyone on the list yet?
No, you haven't named anybody qualified.
How about Kyle Gibson?
I will tell you this.
Is Kyle Gibson even on the list of the Twins?
Gibson. Don't know.
Dang it!
I will tell you this.
To be honest,
if this makes it easier on you,
that we've done so far today, and yet this is the hardest one for us.
If this makes it any easier for you, from 25 to 30 on this list, they all have 10 wins.
Wait, what?
That just confused me more.
Well, okay.
Wait, so there's pitchers with there's pitchers with as many as 10 wins that are on this list?
That's 25 to 30 on the counting down, like at the top is the least amount of wins.
Martin Perez.
Fourth. With 5 wins.
That's a good one. Okay.
There are a lot of guys tied for second with Martin Perez, actually.
Kevin Gossman.
I like that. Chris Hill.
He has 8 wins.
Dang it. Rudy broke
gets
up
a
the
pity
sweep.
point. Marco Estrada was the answer. 4 wins.
He sucks. Wait, nah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Marco. He pitched well his last outing, but he has sucked.
right after I dropped him, but I picked up Lance Lynn, so
he has sucked this year though.
But so tied with Martin Perez with 5 wins is Rick Porcello. Jason Hamill. Jason Hamill of the Royals.
Oh yeah, okay.
Wade Miley, Ricky Nolasco, Ubaldo Jimenez, and Derek Holland. Good old Dutch oven.
Is Wade Miley still in the Orioles?
Yes.
That rotation
is qualified apparently. So.
Jeremy Hellickson, baby. Leading the way. All right, give us the last one, Ray.
Last one. So this one is your more, like, you would see this in most basic sabermetric ones. Win probability added, the lowest among qualified hitters.
So who's just the worst, basically? Who's the worst hitter you can think of?
And this is in the majors among qualified hitters.
Alex.
Ooey.
I'm gonna stick to a guy who's already been mentioned. Alcides Escobar.
5th.
Dang it. Or maybe good. I don't know. I thought that was it.
This is a question that I did not realize was even on the document. I will not lie.
Preparation.
I thought
pays.
the last one was
You're
the
not a
last
professional
question.
show. You do not prepare well.
No, we do.
I mean,
We
yes.
can't let them know.
We're not professional yet.
We're as professional as
Yeah.
as they want us to be.
Our numbers reflect that.
Let's go with, is it qualified? Yes, you just said that, didn't you?
Qualified.
Where are you gonna go with some guy who has like 2 plate appearances?
I was gonna go with Wilson Ramos because he's been pretty atrocious, but
He's
Yeah,
definitely
no,
not
he is-
qualified.
definitely
hasn't
not
played.
qualified at all. So that hurts me.
He's
quite a
completely
bit.
unqualified.
You have 4 options to choose from to beat
I
Ooey,
can
so
do this. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Stop humming. You have to think.
I'm trying to stall for time in case it wasn't obvious.
No, not at all.
Hunter Renfroe. No, that's not what I meant. Who's that other guy?
Wait, no. I can't. I don't know.
Who's that guy?
I don't
hit
know.
16 home runs and then they sent down to the minors.
on the
that guy.
Padres.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not there. Are you talking about Ryan Schimpf?
Yeah. Okay.
He is not. He is not on the list.
He's
Nice.
not qualified.
So, Ooey wins.
Yay!
The top of the list was Jose Peraza of the Reds.
Really that bad,
um,
huh?
Number 2, Rougned Odor.
Wow.
Billy Hamilton 3. Kevin Pillar 4. That's actually a little bit.
What? This list is whack. Alcides Escobar is way worse than these guys.
Yeah, shouldn't Billy Hamilton be way ahead of Alcides Escobar just for stolen bases alone?
This is hitters. This is hitting.
Yeah,
Doesn't
still.
stolen base have to do with offensive
Alcides
production?
Escobar
I
is-
don't know
okay.
what goes into win probability added batting.
Alcides Escobar has an OPS of like 9, as we've already discussed. We have fact checked. It is in fact exactly 9.
I am reading the list that is in front of me. Do not question my authority.
I will question your authority.
Shout out
any
to
day.
Eric Cartman.
Respect my authority.
Well, it doesn't matter. I smoked you,
Ender
Rudy.
Inciarte is
Haha.
7th. Would you believe that?
No, I don't. This
Okay,
list is
that
BS.
doesn't make any
This
sense.
list is BS.
He's saying like 275. That just can't. He's had like 11 home runs. Like that's just not that bad of a year. Is this what site is this?
That's All-Star
This is
Ender
Fangraphs.
Inciarte to you.
That's a very like who? So who's is there anyone like in the top 15? That's like very surprising. I'm just curious now.
Ender Inciarte.
Like does it go the other way too? Is it really surprising? Like in the reverse?
Yeah, the opposite way.
Yes.
I can check that
Is-
for you.
Like at the
that
top of the
bottom
list.
10 is like really shocking, honestly.
Except for Alcides.
Steven Souza Jr. is 8th highest.
Okay, so
He's had a
that's
good
great
year.
example.
He's had a good year.
But is he having the 8th best offensive year in the majors? I would say no.
Oh,
This is
no.
win probability added.
Well, maybe.
Again, I'm not entirely.
So it's a lot of situational stuff. Like he's added probability of certain games to. I'm not gonna pretend to
I
understand.
have a feeling that Alan Craig in 2013 had the highest number ever on this.
Probably.
Anthony Rendon. Dana Murphy is only 22nd. Anthony Rendon is only 23rd on that list. Jonathan Scope is down to 29. So I don't know. I mean,
I've heard enough of that. Fangraphs, I love you, but sometimes you're whack. So
It's a great example, actually, of why you can't always just rely on sabermetrics.
yeah,
And
you got to trust
sometimes
your
you have
gut.
to-
You got to know. You got to watch the games and know everything for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I am the current reigning champion of Stat Game. It feels great. Thanks for getting all that together, Ray.
yeah.
All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for our podcast today. I'd like to ask you to leave any feedback you have for us. Leave any reviews as well, comments wherever you're listening to this, and
Wherever comments are had.
wherever comments are had, which is pretty much everywhere. So you can tweet us at WPB_podcast as well. And I also recommend that you check out our website. It's got all our podcasts and some articles as well. I just recently released another fantasy baseball article. I know you guys are turning out articles too. Anything that you're working on that you want to plug here before we end off?
Not really. Nothing.
My Orioles article will come eventually.
Writing
it's
about
on its way slowly.
The Orioles.
It will be outstanding. I promise you. It's the best.
I'm holding.
The best.
I'm definitely holding
will
you
it
to
just
that.
read that Jonathan Scope is good this year?
It'll primarily be focused on me ranting about Manny Machado's failures as a fantasy player this year, and
it's not personal.
So many other things about the Orioles organizations that just make me angry on the inside and burn my heart.
Wow,
it's gonna be a fun read.
It's almost that's pretty poetic. If you,
I can't wait.
Yeah,
I recommend a nice red and maybe some cheese and crackers while you read it.
Some cheese and crackers. All right.
That or popcorn. I feel like it'd read better with popcorn. Just.
Oh, it's more of a long burn. That's gonna be exciting, I would say. But whatever floats your boat.
Well, whatever snacks you're having, it's definitely worth a read. So make sure you check out our website. Link for that is down below. So that is it for us today. Thank you for joining us.